host, Sarah, and
I'm your other host, Morgan.
we're two sisters
By marriage.
who love to talk about stories.
From writing fiction to creating elaborate plot lines in D&D.
To building characters from random character build sheets.
We're out of initiative. Okay, so you came to me and said that you wanted to make random characters using the big old randomize button. That is just so tempting. What are we doing today, Sarah?
Well, a while back, you had a one-shot, and it was prefaced at the beginning that it was going to be really, really hard, kind of battle royale style. And leaning into the chaos that we've discussed in previous episodes, I thought it'd be fun to do just have D&D Beyond take the wheel and create characters for me, and then that was the ones I was going to play. And it was great fun just to randomize these level 10 characters, and it was just chaos. So I thought it'd be fun to try again and come up with backstories or how we'd use them for what kind of campaigns, or how we would modify them to be better or worse, or maybe inspire us for our own characters and future campaigns.
Love that.
Yeah. So I think we decided we're going to do level 10. So we get
I like level 10,
and we're using it and lots of abilities and everything. So.
And we're allowing multi-class?
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet.
Definitely.
We'll definitely get fewer feats because of the multi-class, obviously, because instead of 4 and 8 on a non-fighter class gaining a feat, if you're multi-class, it's going to be a little later in the game. But let's try a couple and see where we land. I'm really excited to see what happens.
All right. So, would you like to go first?
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay. So I'm going to hit randomize and tell it that I want a level 10, and that's 9. Let me try 10. Allow multi-class, allow feats. Oh, should we name them in advance?
Sure. Or do you want to name them based on what it is that they come
Let's name them after. Let's see if I can let random name, we'll let the randomizer generate a name too, because I think it uses fantasy name generator. So, okay, well then I'm gonna hit create and see what we come up with. All right, and we've got, let me go back to, let's figure this out.
And I think D&D Beyond has all sorts of parameters you can adjust, like the multi-class, or if you want different things. So
nice. Yeah, okay, a little hard to see all of the abilities for the character in the character sheet, but the character that has generated for me is Dalar Aloro, a wood elf warlock, just straight warlock, 10 levels. With magic stone, the cantrip, love that. That's super random. Did it randomly pick my spells too? Oh my gosh, it did. It randomly picks your spells too. Okay, this is exciting. So, this is such a random. It's chosen a few from Svervnelbin Magic, and I don't know which book that is. I'm not sure where that comes from. But it looks like Pact of the Fiend.
Okay.
And Eldritch invocations include Otherworldly Leap, allowing me to jump, which is, I would say, without expending a spell slot. Okay, so that one's okay if you're in if mobility is important in your campaign. Okay, hold on. Pact Boon, here we are. So Pact of the Chain, and this build includes the Dark One's Old Luck. Once per short rest, you make an ability check or saving throw. You can use this feature to add a d10 to your roll, and that must be the feat. You can do so after seeing Dark One's Old Luck.
I've never heard of that.
I know, cool. I haven't seen that one before. I think we're going to end up with a lot of non-core books, so we're going to end up with some kind of random stuff.
And what was the magic stone that you said at the beginning?
Yeah.
What is
Magic
that?
Stone, it's a cantrip. So that is, you touch a stone and give it magic, and then you or someone else can make a ranged spell attack with the rock that you've enchanted. It has a range of 60 feet, and when they go to attack with it, they use your spellcasting modifier. So on a hit, target takes bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. So it's your spellcasting ability modifier to hit and on damage, which is kind of cool, but like what it's such an edge case cantrip. Like, when is that useful?
So
I struggle with that one.
Would this character just be carrying around a bag of rocks all the time? Just like
Absolutely.
I would think so.
Dalar carries around a bag of rocks. Okay, so let's think. Who is this warlock? He's packed with a fiend. Carries around a bunch of rocks. Okay, absolutely. I feel like, and he's a wood elf. I feel like this is, and I'm just saying it does not randomly assign a gender, but like this feels like a masculine character to me. This wood elf, I can imagine, was, raised on their own, learned to raise themselves in the woods among the animals, and learned to utilize every resource at their fingertips, at any time. Because at any time, you could run out of spell slots. It's a warlock. You don't have very many. Just ready to just throw something out there. Which makes sense. And they 2 spell slots at 5th level. That is just like 2 5th level spell slots. I mean,
warlock life, man.
Warlocks are tough.
Mm-hmm.
Carries around a bag of rocks, and while I think the initial like impression I get of this character is just like some grubby, like dirty forest kid, I feel like this is a very meticulously cleaned wood elf character who doesn't just have a bag of rocks. They're like clean, polished, round pebbles, and it's like kind of an emotional thing every time they use them with their cantrip. Casting them out in the middle of combat is actually like goodbye. Like each one is named like Jeffrey, goodbye, you were so good to me. And I feel like every single one has a journey, and the rest of the party just has to deal with like tiny little stone funerals every time the little pebbles don't make it back. That's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, I love that. What did it give you for ability scores?
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. That's amazing. So a 6 for strength, a 14 dex, which is great. And if you're going to nerf something, I think that dumping the strength makes sense here. A 9 con, which is a bummer because that's going to hurt your hit points. 12 intelligence, 18 wisdom, and 15 charisma. Gosh, is this a point buy? This must be a point buy. No, you can't get down to 6 on a point buy, so this must be
random.
Yeah.
Like they rolled. But you get a bonus for being a wood elf, I'm assuming, with your dex.
I think
of some sort.
I think it's charisma. I think it's charisma, but let me see. I know this is like a lot more rules intensive than I was expecting, because I'm like I want to know what the mechanics are, I want to know what the logistics are.
Yeah.
They're rolled stats. 6, 14, 9, 12, 18, 15 after bonuses. We get +2 to dex from a racial bonus, and then +1 to wisdom. I'm thinking of a high elf that gets charisma, I think. Ability score improvement, +1 to charisma, and a +1 to con, which makes sense. It must have been an 8 initially. Yeah, it was an 8. +1 to make it a 9. Boy, that's quite the build there.
So what would you have swapped for the con if you wanted to hire a con, and that was your rolls?
If that was what I rolled, if these were my rolls, I think I would have dumped intelligence. I think that's kind of stereotypical, but yeah, we need, and I don't know that I would have put the 17 in wisdom. I would have put it in charisma to boost my spellcasting modifier. And then I would have taken either intelligence or wisdom as my dump stat so that I have a bulkier constitution. But sometimes it's kind of fun to be a glass cannon. I think that there's an appeal to that. Definitely. For sure.
Yeah. Do you have armor? Is there any armor? Like maybe.
Ooh, good question. Let's see.
Your con.
It doesn't default.
No.
It doesn't start with your items. No. Which is kind of funny because, yeah, I guess that makes sense. So no, instead I've just got that dex-based AC of 12. 10 plus my +2 for dex.
So that's definitely something. You could always have armor and then
well, it's a warlock. I feel like
low con.
Yeah, I feel like with a warlock I would always want to do like armor of Agathis or mage armor and just like let that be you could do leather and then or studded and then But it's not like this person's with a 6 strength, you're not going to be in the front.
So what spells did they prepare for you?
Yeah, let's see. So for cantrips, we've got Magic Stone, Minor Illusion, Thunderclap, and True Strike. You know how I feel about a lot of these, and
No,
many of
Eldritch
these
Blast?
are not.
None?
No Eldritch Blast, which is kind of funny because I do kind of love the idea of building a warlock and being like, no, I won't take the strongest cantrip. Like, sure, if you want to be contrarian, enjoy.
Fuck the system there.
Yeah. First level spells, Disguise Self, which must be from an invocation, and then Jump at Will. Second level, we've got Blindness and Deafness and Blur, which again are from a feat. And third level, Non-Detection, which looks like it's also from that same feat. It's not a feat that we use. I think it's from Acquisitions Incorporated because it's just not one that it's just kind of a funky one. And some of their feats are some of the stuff in that campaign is kind of silly and doesn't necessarily mesh with, we run pretty silly campaigns. So like, that's very high and mighty of me to say, but, here we are.
It's just stuff we're unfamiliar with. So
yeah. So, other spells, we've got Confusion, Conjure Elemental, Dimension Door, Earthbind, Find Familiar, Hallow, Hallucinatory Terrain, which is a really fun spell, Hold Monster, great, Illusory Script, Misty Step, Polymorph, Shatter, Spider Climb, and Unseen Servant. The spell list itself of, like, castable spells, actually really solid. I feel like this is a really good choice.
Yeah.
These are interesting.
Big spells on there. So.
Well, Dalar, what a great guy. That's cool. Like that.
Love it.
Well, why don't you kick us off? Give us a random character.
Okay. Let's see. And we're allowing multiclass, and we're allowing feats.
Mm-hmm.
And level 10. Oops. And create character. Here we go. See what we get. View character sheet. Okay, so I got Cherish.
Oh,
Just
cute.
Cherish. There's no last
Just
name.
Cherish, like Cher.
Yeah, it's just Cherish. And they are level 10 variant Aasimar fighter.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
the variant
okay.
Aasimar is cool. Yeah.
So they get all the Aasimar abilities, resistance to necrotic and radiant.
What subclass of fighter?
Okay, so let me go to features. Oh my gosh. Fighting style. They have 2-weapon fighting. Echo Knight.
Ooh,
They're
Echo Knight.
Which I'm not
Fun.
familiar with that much.
Echo Knight's cool. I think that's when you end up going a little more magic. That's sort of like an Eldritch Knight in terms of going a more magic build, which is fun. I think Echo Knight's kind of metal though. Like, aren't they like a little more like dead based? I think like. I'm gonna have to pull up rules as we go.
As a bonus action, I can magically manifest an echo of myself in an unoccupied space within 15 feet. It lasts until it's destroyed. It has an AC of 18. 1 hit point, immunity to all conditions. So I can mentally command it to move. I can magically swap spaces with it. If I take an action, or an attack action, it can attack from its space too. It's just basically like you do a duplicity, kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah, that makes sense. This is from Matt's stuff. This is Eberron, or not Eberron.
It says
why am I drawing a blank?
EGTW.
Explorer's Guide to Wildmount.
There we go.
Sorry.
There it is. And I have that book.
Yeah, Wildmount though is yeah, that's Critical Role. That's Critical Role.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Manifest Echo. I have Unleash Incarnation. I can heighten my Echo's fury and make 1 additional melee attack from the Echo's position, which is very cool. I can also, as an action, see through my Echo's eyes and hear through its ears.
That's fun.
I have Indomitable. I can reroll a saving throw that I fail, and I must use the new roll once per long rest. I can also use my Echo. It's called Shadow Martyr, which is really cool. I can have my Echo throw itself in front of an attack directed at another creature to, like, protect another one. This is
Love
really
that.
cool. I mean, it's very specific. Like, most of this fighter's abilities are based around them having this echo person creation.
So what's the backstory for this character? Who is this?
Well, let's see. I was going to look at my ability score. So they got a 16 strength, 12 dex, 13
Nice.
constitution, 12 intelligence, 11 wisdom, 16 charisma. They're just like
Oh, great rolls.
really
Great
great
rolls.
rolls. Yeah, being an ASMR, I think I really like the idea of this echo person that they manifest. Definitely leading into the magic, kind of that celestial side of them. Maybe they're a descendant of a god that does this a lot. That has, I'm not familiar with all of the Faerun gods, but maybe there's a god that like looks like Gemini, like the twins or something, and maybe that's who they're descended of, and so they can project a part of them to help fight. And I love that it's got like a combination of both fighting and defensive. I really like that, so they can help their party. It's just a well-rounded character, like looking at their scores.
That's cool.
Yeah. Same thing, 11 armor class, and they don't have any armor, so that's definitely something, being a fighter.
Right out of the gate, you're like, okay, we gotta find armor.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, they have a playing card set and thieves tools.
Cute.
Yeah.
That's probably from their background. That makes sense.
For my background, it gave me spy. Apparently, my feature is a criminal contact, so I have a reliable and trustworthy contact who acts as my liaison to network of other criminals. Ooh, shady,
Fun.
Dark backstory.
So what's the backstory for this character?
Well, I feel like, they were part of maybe a spies guild of some sort. And they still have some contacts, but now they've outgrown that and they want to go on and do good things. And so, I definitely, and as Cherish, it could be male
Cute.
or female. I really think you could go either way. So it says with my racial traits, I have an ability score increase, my size, speed, dark vision, celestial resistance, and celestial legacy. That gives me light, cantrip, lesser restoration, and daylight. And then as far as my feats, I just have one feat. Second chance. So I can, when a creature you can see hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to force that creature to re-roll. Which is really cool. And it just gave me one feat.
Yeah, I think that mine only had one feat too.
Okay, let's see what you got.
All right, let's see. I want another level 10 with multiclass and allow feats, and I hope I get an actual multiclass this time.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Come on, multiclass.
Yeah, give us the multiclass. Okay, we're off to a great start. The name is Storm.
Ooh,
Just
okay.
Storm. Okay.
Good.
Perfect. It's an air genasi.
Oh.
Holy multiclass. Batman. Okay. 92 hit points at level 10. Nice. That's because they are a ranger, paladin, rogue. So that's ranger 6, paladin 2, rogue 2. Quite the build. Rangers got a d12 hit die. Paladins also, I believe, got a d12 or at least a d10. So that's why we've got so many hit points. And the rogue's down there with a d8. 6, 2, and 2 on the multiclass there. Rolled stats are 13 strength, 12 dex, 15 con, 13 intelligence, 9 wisdom, and 14 charisma. And after bonuses, let's see, did we get any ASIs or feats? It looks like we took an ASI for charisma, and we end with 13 strength, 13 dex, 17 con, 13 intelligence, 9 wisdom, and 16 charisma. I don't think that anything personal pet peeve, nothing irritates me more than ending up with a bunch of odd numbered stats, because like if I just go up by 1, my modifier goes up. Storm's background is Haunted One, which is perfect. I think that this is from Ravenloft, not Ravenloft. It's from Strahd, maybe. Haunted One, that's fun. Or it could be Sword Coast. Fine, so we're paladins. So that means we've got some spells, Paladin and Ranger. Oh my gosh, this is a disaster build. Spell modifier, because a Ranger is a wisdom-based caster and a Paladin is a charisma-based caster. We've got a -1 to wisdom and a +3 to charisma. So all the spell stats are split. So anytime they cast a Ranger spell, the modifier is -1. And on there, but it also has a little line in between. And then, but if it's a Paladin spell, it's a +3.
Oh my gosh.
This would be so hard to keep track of. I would never recommend this for a player. Spell attacks are +3 or +7, and the save DC is 11 or 15, depending on the spell. They've given us absorb elements. Fine. Goodberry, Hunter's Mark, Animal Messenger, and Levitate. Although Levitate, I think, is Levitate is a racial ability for Storm. What a perfect name. At least they picked a good, like, a relevant racial name, because I think that the Air Genasi, they get, like, Gust, Storm. I don't know. They've got, like, a bunch of weather-based sounding names.
Wow.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see.
It's supposed to be that way with all Genasi, I think. The fire and the water.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have kind of a name that's inspired by your element.
So no feats on this one, because they would have gotten the ASI at level 4, and then Paladin 2, Rogue 2, and then the 2 more levels in Ranger. They haven't hit another ASI level.
So does it have sneak attack? Because it's level 2, right? Like you're supposed to. Yeah,
they've got a 1d6 sneak attack. Thieves can't. They've got the expertise that comes from... Oh, maybe this is from Ranger instead of... No, that's Rogue. Rogue gets the expertise, which is nice.
So does that mean if you could do Divine Smite and Sneak Attack if you hit, potentially?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
You could do some damage.
You could. When you hit with a melee weapon attack, expend a spell slot to deal an extra 2d8. And then sneak attack if you have advantage.
Yeah.
Any creature you hit with an attack. Finesse or ranged weapon. So, gosh, you're really limited because they've got martial and simple weapon proficiencies. So you're pretty limited, but so then you go in and you hit and you divine smite, so you get an extra 2d8. It's only 1d6 though, because it's only a 2nd level rogue. So not super overpowered, but what short sword damage? I don't need that. I'm busy with my smite and sneak attack. It's kind of a lot.
Okay, so what's your backstory?
Storm?
Who is Storm?
So who isn't Storm? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Ranger, Rogue, Paladin. I feel like Storm is a ranger who trained as a wisdom-based person, learning about the world, and maybe even did hunting just outside this, in the outskirts of town to bring in resources and help people, but was sort of kept their distance. Maybe I just really like to write introverts. Ooh. And kept their distance from most people until probably became close with maybe 1 or 2 people in town. Ended up kind of praying and finding a deity who gave them a little bit of power to save this kid. So that's where we get that lay on hands in exchange for, doing that deity's work. And I kind of feel like it's not a classically good deity. And that's how we ended up with the rogue too at the same time. So having to do some subterfuge and some sort of sneaky in the shadow type stuff, while also maintaining that ranger versatility and outdoorsiness. And I think that's what Storm is. I think that's who Storm is.
I think that would be a very complex character play when you have the lawful good paladin, chaotic neutral-ish rogue, battling inside of them. That would be tough.
I feel like this whole character is a true neutral, follows the neutral god, is just neutral all the way around, and leans good when it comes to helping people who helped them.
Yeah.
I think that's where I would go with this.
That would be tough to play though with those stats and that build. That'd be
Yes.
tough.
Yes. But it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Kind of love a challenge, and also maybe this is too much challenge. I don't know.
Okay, we have Ulahana. Ulahana.
Nice.
Scourge Aasimar this time.
Okay, yeah, we like the Aasimar.
And they did multi-class. We got the multi-class. Okay. We got 8 levels of druid.
Okay.
1 level of monk.
Sure.
1 level of warlock.
Oh. Sure.
Okay. So, let's look at those stats. We got 10 strength, 13 dex, 16 con. Ooh, I like that. I like that. 16 intelligence, 14 wisdom, and 14 charisma. Those are some pretty good stats.
These are big numbers. Those are great rolls.
Yeah. It's definitely something. They have a lot of wildfire.
Ooh, are they a circle of wildfire?
I think-
Like Fern?
I think so.
I love that.
Yeah, it is Circle of Wildfire. So they can summon a wildfire spirit.
Heck yeah.
Which is really cool. A flame steed. That's cool.
Sick.
Yeah.
I love that.
Fiery teleportation. But they also have Hexblade's Curse. Because
Sure.
they have that one.
Yeah, that one level in Warlock.
And they can wild shape.
So weird.
It is. And they also have Radiant Consumption because they're an Aasimar. So let's look at these spells. They got Create Bonfires, Cantrip, Light, Resistance, Sword Burst, Thunderclap, and Toll the Dead. From the Warlock level. So
Yeah.
Sword Burst and Toll the Dead are the Warlock. Burning Hands, Cure Wounds, Hellish Rebuke, and Shield. Okay, those are all solid. Those are all good. And then you keep going. But they have a bunch of spell slots. Because they are 8 levels of druid. So even though
8 levels of druid that's a lot.
Yeah. So even though they have like the warlock spells, they have tons of slots to play with. They have Revivify, Plant Growth, Scorching Ray, lots of those. Flaming Sphere, all very fire based, which
Oh yeah. Love that. I like the thematic stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of that is probably automatic for their class.
So they did Hexblade's Curse for their Warlock, their Pact Magic. It's from that Hexblade. And they did Hex Warrior, so they get proficiency with medium armor, shields, martial weapons. And the Radiant Consumption, which I think is just so cool.
Mm-hmm.
No feats. So that high intelligence is interesting that they put that in there. But so they have +7 to their religion checks. I mean, that's great.
Jeez.
Yeah, they got alchemist supplies, herbalism kit. Yeah, so
who's this?
Ulahana, definitely Scourge Aasimar. So maybe they were somewhere in the mountains, and so they were exposed to a lot of like volcanic activity, and that's where they got their fire interest, or practicing working with fire and that kind of thing. And then as they've been traveling with their party, maybe they stopped at a temple and learned some monk abilities and decided to take an extra,
The level in monk is so weird.
one level in monk. And honestly, the unarmed strike is, I think, all I'm really getting from it. Because key points must not come to level 2?
They must not, although I think it would increase your movement speed.
Yeah, oh, my movement. It's 30.
Oh, so maybe not.
Yeah, all I see is unarmed strike, so...
What a tear.
Right?
Why would you just take one?
They're learning. I feel like...
They get unarmored defense and martial arts, and that is it.
Level 1, monk. So it's, they spent some time at the temple. Maybe they had a friend there that took care of them and taught them some ways of outside life from their volcanic tribe. And then, maybe, and then as far as the warlock comes, that Hexblade, I don't know. I don't know
What a choice. What if, okay, what if they were really tight with the volcano and something happened and the volcano kind of like morphed their DNA and they got fire in their veins, right? And with their, I assume, some sort of fire resistance, right? Because
just necrotic and radiant. They don't have any fire resistance.
Brutal. You're lighting all those fires, you can't even resist it. Okay. Maybe their pact is with like the volcano.
That's what I was thinking. That would work really well.
Yeah, maybe it's like a molten blade.
And then, and then their pact is with the volcano.
I love that.
And they get their hex blade and all that.
Yeah, like a sentient volcano. Sure. Yeah. Yes.
I like.
I would love that.
Ulahana is cool. I really
Sick.
like this. Yeah. Okay.
You want to hit us with one more?
Yeah. Okay. I think this is a great one to end on. You ready for this?
Good. Yes.
Hinsadi Skarzaborush.
Okay. Maybe Scar for short.
Scar Hinsadi. Lots of A's, lots of O's. Draconblood Dragonborn.
Sure.
Okay. 6 levels Blood Hunter.
Okay.
Ready? 4 levels Bard.
Oh. Sure.
Okay.
A Blood Hunter Bard. A Blood Hunter Bard.
And they're a Dragonborn. Draconblood.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that part of the race is. The Draconblood. Is that a new
that'll
one?
just... It could... Oh, you know what? I'll bet it's from Fizban. I'll bet it's from that new book that just came out not that long ago.
These stats are bonkers. We got a 12 strength.
Okay.
Right? 14 dex,
Sure.
fine. 8 con.
Bummer.
20 intelligence.
Okay, sure. What a journey.
Maxed out. 10 wisdom, 12 charisma. So they have advantage on arcana checks. They have advantage on history. They have advantage on investigation, nature, and religion, and survival. Because of that bard. Because I guarantee it's something to do with the bard college of eloquence. So, so they have expertise. And it didn't
makes sense.
It didn't select them for me. So I would have to. So I could have even more.
Jeez.
Silver Tongue, make a charisma, persuasion, or deception check. I can treat a d20 of 9 or lower as a 10. Unsettling words is a bonus action. So that's all my bard stuff. Oh, ability score. I got a feat. Eldritch Adept. Feat.
Yes.
Because why not? So,
yeah, because this multi-class loves warlocks, which, to be fair, having spell slots that recharge on a short rest is excellent.
Yeah. So I've got Mage Hand, Light, and Vicious Mockery, all from Bard. Animal Friendship, Detect Magic, Hideous Laughter, and Unseen Servant. See Invisibility and Silence are my spells. I speak Common, Draconic, Halfling, and Zemnian.
Zemnian, huh? Zemnian. Sure.
And Halfling. Okay. And then if we go to... So that's the Bard. My proficiencies are Drum and Intimidation. So...
Okay.
Yeah. Those are good ones. Jack of all trades. So that's why I think I have all those advantages.
That's from Bard, yeah.
And I have Song of Rest, which I think is great because you can get those hit points. And then Blood Hunter, I got proficiencies of Acrobatics, Insight, and History. Hunter's Bane, I'm not very familiar with Blood Hunter, honestly. But I have advantage on Wisdom, Survival checks to track Fey, Fiend, or Undead. As well as advantage on Intelligence checks to recall information about them. I have the Blood Maledict, the Blood Curses. Blood Curse of the Fallen Puppet. When a creature can see within 30 feet of you, it drops to 0 points. You can use your reaction to give that creature a final act of aggression. That creature immediately makes a single attack against a target of your choice with its attack range. I need to spend more time on Blood Hunters. There's a lot here.
Blood Hunters are really cool and terrifying.
Yeah. I have the Crimson Right, a bonus action. I can imbue a weapon to strike for an extra d6 of damage. Kind of like Hex, it seems like. Um, my right of the frozen, your right damage is cold damage. My blood hunter order is Order of the Ghost Slayer. There's
Sure.
a lot with blood hunter.
Yeah.
So then Draconic Ancestry, I'm Black Dragon, so I have acid. So
Awesome.
I have my breath weapon, which is cool. And I also have forceful presence, so I get advantage with intimidation and persuasion and dark vision. So what is my speed? It's 30. Yeah, I would play this. I would have
That's a fun
to spend some time because the blood hunter.
I'm stuck on that low strength though as a blood hunter because I think that they are a strength based fighter.
I think you're right. And I just have it's just a +1 for my strength. But the dex is high. My con is also very low, 8. I don't know why they dumped in intelligence, 20. I would definitely.
That's so.
Changed.
Well, okay. I feel like though. I don't know. I could see that. I could see that being really fun. But what's this character about?
Hinsadi Skarzaborosh.
Sure.
Being dragonborn, probably, was shunned a lot from society and maybe had a mentor or somebody that showed them the ways of the blood hunter. Maybe a relative, an uncle, or somebody in their family that showed them just to be able to protect themselves. And probably I would lean towards this character being pretty morally gray. Definitely. But their intelligence is so high that I feel like they'd be very calculating about whatever their endeavors were, and maybe that's the reason they don't stray too far off the path, because they know, maybe these are choices. Just very calculated. I feel like they would be very careful about what they do. And the low con, they've only got a 12 armor class. What's their hit points? 50 for a level 10.
That's oh my low. God. That's horrible.
So I think that they would try and do a lot of range stuff. Their bard abilities, they have that inspiration. I feel like maybe that came about later. Maybe they had a close near-death experience and they were saved by someone, maybe a tavern owner or something, and they kind of were brought back to health, and they listened to music while they were recovering from their wounds and decided to pick up the drum and play along while they intimidated the crowd to giving them more money. So, as is their proficiencies. So I think that's where we are. I feel like the drum, they definitely have an angry face when they're playing it. It's not a lighthearted, it's like a war beat kind of thing. But it's enough to inspire the party, give them that bardic inspiration or whatever. So, yeah, this would be fun. This would be a fun character. So
I feel like we wrote a lot of outcasts, and I wonder if one of these characters might have an alternate backstory. What might that look like for you?
Well, definitely, I think this one, if they started out morally gray, which I think a lot of people like that with their D&D characters, where they made all these bad mistakes and now they're trying to absolve themselves. So I feel like this person could definitely, they have the alchemist supplies. Maybe they just want to spend time coming up with potions, and the blood hunters just kind of, that is the area they have to study to understand the mechanics of making potions or remedies or that kind of thing, and then just using their intelligence for that. I'm kind of leaning towards, we just finished Arcane, and Victor, how he studies that arcana based machine, and he's just kind of obsessed with it, but it's for the good of society. He's trying to figure out how to make that. And so I feel like this character could be that way, where they could have a part in society and maybe have their place to belong. What about you? This was fun.
That's fun. Yeah, this was cool. This was a good exercise. I like this.
Yeah, I think this is definitely great to do, just to see when you have your ability scores, where they line up and what advantage you get from, you know, your race background or any of that. And then just to learn all these new, because, you know, I feel like I've learned so much already, like from just looking at all these different feats and character builds. So it was great.
Yeah. No one can know all of the rules all the time. That's too much, especially when there's constantly new stuff coming out. Like, it's really hard to keep up.
It is. It is. D&D Beyond's great, though, because they take all that source material and they put it there.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, so great for that.
Well, thank you for randomly generating stories with me today. That was really super fun. We've been out of initiative, but we're going to get back into it. So get out there and roll some dice and tell some stories, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
You know, being from the angelic descendants, maybe that's part of it.
What is that sound?
The dog is barking. I'm so sorry.
No, it sounds like an old man yelling.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. Hurt.
We'll do this for editing horn.
Yeah. Oops, don't export. Just export to PDF real quick. What button am I supposed to push?
Thanks for listening to Out of Initiative, a podcast from Merely NPCs. For more from Sarah and Morgan, visit merelynpcs.com or follow them on Instagram @merelynpcs.